What's going on, y'all? My name is Joltage, and today, bringing you week 4 LCUU action from LPL. Um, we're just gonna hop right into it. Our first game of the week was Quinn of Scrubs versus Risi of non-Scrubs. I think it's the Espers, I think. But yeah, anyway, just looking at the game, looking at the teams, everybody and their mom's been on a sand kick, and Quinn's brought quite an interesting variant featuring Omanite. Omanite, I feel like, is such just risky pick with Gunk back, but didn't run into Gunk here, so it definitely has opportunity. Is going to want some way to deal with, some way for the Corpfish to be gotten rid of, but definitely always a threat. And that's on top of sand just kind of being scary. In general, very popular at the moment in our second quarter of the year meta. But a very interesting team indeed, including Amon you don't see too often. Risi, on the other hand, brought a more standard looking team. Water spam without Goldeen, which is definitely interesting. I feel like people are lower on Goldeen now, which is I don't think super warranted, but Goldeen's being seen less around. But water spam Tyke and Corpfish. Corpfish seems also, again, like a risky bring with Krogunk around. Corp really only has Aerial Ace, which doesn't do jack to Krogunk really for it. So, Risi needs to eliminate that Krogunk. She does have the Mantike for which can help with the Krogunk as well as the Slandit and Dig A, depending on the set. But overall, a pretty interesting, team matchup here. We're just gonna kind of hop right in. We've got lead Panda versus lead Tyke. Panda's gonna win the first speed tie, get off an air slash, and rather than, so that was a interesting play. Rather than go right for the air slash again, which I would have done, rather than set up the rain dance, Risi opts to set up the rain dance, wins that speed tie, and then Quinn immediately puts down the rain, going to the hippo on the parting shot with the slow move. It's unfortunate. Alright, throw pump miss, rock slide miss. That turn basically never happened, though Mantike took a little bit more chip. Hydro pump gonna be able to 2-hit KO if it hits. Quinn decides instead to sack the Panda, but Panda also dodges the Hydro and then is going to win the speed tie. And Mantike really wasn't able to do as much as it probably should have this game. Diglett's gonna come out here, go right for the Earthquake as Hippo is sacked to set up the Sands, where Shrew's going to be able to force out the Diglett. Out comes Corpfish, who eats the EQ, is going to be able to threaten out with Aqua Jet. Sandshrew actually lives this, even the crit, and is able to kill back, and that's very good for the Omanite later on, as I mentioned earlier. We're threatening a Sucker Punch here as Quinn reads that, goes for the Swords Dance. Sucker Punch once again. There was no reason for... with Sand ending that turn, there was no reason for Risi not to Sucker Punch again that turn. As, Sandshrew was going to not be able to outspeed it anymore afterwards. So that was really no risk on Risi's part, and Sandshrews going to go down. Now comes Salandit in on the Oddish. He's going to eat the Giga Drain quite well. Salandit, very dangerous mod to have out because it sets up, because it gives the Omanite a very free setup opportunity. Omanite resists both stab moves, and Salandit hardly ever runs anything that can actually hit it, most of the time being knockoff. Very occasionally you'll see a T-Wave on Salandit as a fourth move, but it's not super common. So Salandit being in is very dangerous for risi. She knows that. She's going to make a hard double out to Oddish on the incoming Pancham. That really didn't work out for her super well, as Oddish is going to be, Pancham is going to get off a knockoff, and Oddish is really forced to take that. Oddish is going to dodge the gunk shot. This is a life orb crow gunk actually, so that may have actually even killed. Is able to put the gunk to sleep. Gunk does wake up, wake up and win an assumed speed tie, dodges a Zen headbutt, which is really unfortunate for risi, but this is the next one, as Zen headbutt's going to hit, so really no harm, no foul. Oddish comes out and is going to eat the knockoff, going for the sleep powder, and now here was the pivotal turn of the game. Quinn sees that her only opportunity, or their only opportunity to win the game is to set up their own night. It needs to be able to outspeed the Diglett, and we know Panda has to be asleep for one turn. We're banking on, and they're banking on a second one. Risi opts to stay in that turn, to burn that turn of sleep, rather than make the play out to her Diglett or Oddish, expecting the Omanite, and the Panda is going to stay asleep. As also, by the way, was not a speed tie on this first gunk shot, because Omanite even outsped right there, which is kind of crazy. But Omanite is going to smash up, and Panda is going to stay asleep, and Omanite's going to be able to clean up the game from here. Ice Beam's going to be able to take out the Oddish. Slanted obviously can't do anything, and Sucker Punch is absolutely not going to be able to take out Omanite from here. Quinn's going to pick up another victory. I don't really like the weak armor on my Omanite, but you know, it worked out here. On my Smash Omanite particularly, but you know, it worked out here. And Quinn wins the game. There was some pretty unfortunate RNG, particularly involving risi's Man-Tyke, but I think overall the game just kind of came down to that last decision on whether Quinn was going out to their Omanite or in risi, and what risi was going to do about that. But Quinn's going to pick up the victory, and I'm going to see you guys in game 2. Alright, our second game of the week was between Baby Boy Blues and Albi. BBB also bringing sand here against Albi's no sand. We've got a fatter looking sand on BBB's part as well, with the Lilip Lickitung, who we don't see too often. Assumedly is Cloud9 to dissuade any opposing weather. Archon and Gunker, potentially pretty fat, also has decent wall breakers in Gunk and Archon, as well as Sandshrew itself. Albi, on the other hand, has a pretty interesting looking, I guess, water spam Goldeen, Dupiter, this pretty standard like Volt turn, I guess. Pivoting core of Goldeen, Panda, and I believe his Archon also has the U-turn into Diglett and the Dupiter. Diglett's not super good in this game, between the fatness that is Lickitung and just like sand being a problem. Pumpkaboo pretty decent, potentially pretty decent, and certain Goldeen sets are also okay, but Lilip is always a problem. So matchup wise, I'd say BBB's in the better position, but we're gonna get started, and it's gonna be the lead Lickitung against the Goldeen. Goldeen goes right for the toxic rather than the immediate knockoff, misses unfortunately, and Les Lickitung is gonna get a knock itself. Goldeen is gonna get that knock the second turn, but is gonna have to lose its life as a result. At least it was able to knock off the Lickitung, but the Power Whip comes out and is able to take it out. Out comes Panda. Licky's knocked off, so Panda's more threatening. is going to set up Swords Dance immediately and win an assumed speed tie, take out the Gunk right off the bat. So this Panda's pretty threatening, but this Hippo's very fat and is able to get off the yawn. Albi, not wanting this Panda to go to sleep, is going to go out to his Dupiter on the rocks. And Hippo's going to live to see another day, as Lickitung comes out, eats the Icy Wind really easily. Dupe goes for the Bug Buzz rather than the Surf, trying to catch the Laleep incoming, and eats a knockoff for it. Archon is able to come out and goes right for the Acro and is able to take out the Dupiter, who was knocked off. Diglett into Hippo for BBB. He's going to eat the Iron Head. And rather than kill the Hippo and allow Shrew in for free, Albi makes a play of going to his Pumpkaboo, and not giving the Sandshrew a free switch in. In comes Laleep though on the Pumpkaboo. That Giga Drain doing 17 under Sand to Laleep. Immediately put, when I was watching this game live, immediately put a flag in my head that this is no normal Laleep, and we will soon find out that is absolutely not a normal Laleep. See, Giga Drain from the Laleep as Pumpkaboo misses a Will-O-Wisp, and with that Sand Chip, BBB is going to reveal that it is indeed the Forbidden Set Meteor Beam Laleep, assumedly Rock Polish as well. Didn't go for the Rock Polish here, as it really can't sweep through this Panda anyway. Just opts to take out the pump without that. But this does allow in the Diglett Alola, who against this non-EVO Laleep looks a lot scarier than it would otherwise, and is able to take it out with the Iron Head. Hippo comes out and is able to set Sand up once again, rather than killing it and allowing a free Sandshrew switch. Albi goes to his Archon this time, as BBB goes for the Yawn, and is able to catch that. Out comes Panda, not wanting his Archon to be asleep, and BBB goes to Shrew. Sets up a Swords Dance, as Sandshrew's going to live anyone hit, including this knockoff. And here goes for, I think, a very safe Earthquake, as Albi goes to his Archon. Now that Hippo being Eviolite, we only have one turn of Sand left here, and Albi knowing that, BBB knowing that, is thinking, hey, I want to make sure my Sandshrew can sweep from here, which it might be able to, and wants to get off a Rapid Spin. I think this was a potential throw, or at least just definitely not an optimal play. I think knockoff was absolutely the superior play here, because at the very least you can set up Sand once again and then have Sandshrew come out and be threatening, but BBB does go for the Rapid Spin here and is going to go down, pops Archon's Berry Juice, and he's going to go down to the Acro, and basically loses himself the game here. Loses the speed tie with his own Archon, but it didn't matter. Hippo was not in a position to be able to win from there at 12%, and Albi's going to be able to take it out with the Acrobatics, but I really disagree with the Rapid Spin on that turn 21. I think knockoff was absolutely the best play. Then maybe try to set up Sand later. I guess it's possible that Albi tries to get cheeky and goes Panda on the knockoff, and then might be able, maybe can kill with the Drain Punch. I don't think that's I don't think that it can, but maybe that's what he was worried about as he went for the Rapid Spin there, but it ended up costing him the game for sure. And Albi's going to pick up the victory. And I will pause it, and I'll see you guys in game 3. All right, game 3. We've got no sand for once, but we've got Jox versus Juan over here. Jox bringing a very, very sun team, 3 fire types here with a some spike support from Trubbish, and then why not acting as trapping. Juan over there on the other side bringing a fairly decent looking balanced team, the likes of Shellos, Goldine. We've seen quite a few double waters this week. Firewater Grass, and then Diglett and Gunker on the as the supplementary pieces. This was definitely an interesting game. We'll just kind of hop right into it. Got lead Vulpix from Jox on the Diglett. Now if Vulpix is scarfed, obviously Diglett is very much in danger here, unless it's scarfed itself. But seeing, kind of looking at the structure of the team, you kind of expect this Vulpix to be Heat Rock, wanting to have as many sun turns as possible. And Jox is going to make the play out to the Shrew, who's going to take the EQ fairly well, but I mean not the best. It is non-life orb dig, of course, but 43 is a fair amount of damage for the Sand Shrew to be taking. Juan's going to go out to his Cottony on the EQ, threaten an Encore, and make a very strong play out to his Diglett on the obvious Trubbish coming in, who would obviously not care about the Encore, wouldn't care about a potential knockoff. Generally, very strong switch-in opportunity for Jox against that Cottony, and Juan reads that fairly easily. Goes out to his Diglett and threatens a EQ. Sandshrew has to come in again. Luckily for Jox, it is Berry Juice, so it is right back at full, and we get to see a interesting set Thief. We haven't seen that yet. This time, rather than going out to the Trubbish, we go Darumaka on the Cottony, and Darumaka is going to be able to fire off a very powerful Flare Blitz. If not for the Intimidate, would be able to take out this Growlithe. Would have been able to KO that Growlithe there, but Growlithe is going to get mostly back to full with that Morning Sun. Out's going to come Sandshrew on a very nice Will-O-Wisp. I like that play a lot from Juan. As now Sandshrew is very crippled. Jox makes a good play himself, going out to the Vulpix on the Cottony. As Shellos is going to come out on the Weather Ball, takes no damage at all. As Shellos is going to recover up on the second Weather Ball, Jox goes out to his Trubbish as Shellos reveals Amnesia. Decides it wants to get out of there. Goes Diglett as a spike is set up. In comes Shrew to set rocks. Juan can't block that spin at all, and so Jox is just going to go right for it. Once again, Cottony in on Sandshrew. Once again, Darumaka is the play as Juan goes for the Defog. Defog's not really something we see too much in Cottony these days, but is always an option for it. Is able to get rid of that spike, allowing Growlithe to come in, intimidate. No Sun makes that much safer as Jox hits his U-turn and is able to bring in Trubbish, who sets a Toxic Spike on the incoming Krogunk. This is a very good Toxic Spike as well, because this is a very good Toxic Spike as Krogunk kicks the eject button Trubbish with the Focus Blast, and out comes Jox's Vulpix. Now Vulpix, very good here, outspeeds Krogunk with that Toxic Spike, and this basically guarantees a poison on to either Shellos, Goldine, or Growlithe, because Juan is absolutely not going Diglett here, and is not giving up the Krogunk to get rid of it, so it is going to be the Shellos that's going to eat this poison. Crit, not really that consequential, but it is going to force the recover, as Jox is going to go to Why Not and be able to trap the Shellos, encore it into recover, and waste all of those turns. I'm just going to skip through bunch because this goes on for quite some time. Shellos reveals to be Curse after it runs out of all of its recovers. It's going to be encored into Curse, and Jox is going to go to his Vulpix to set up that Sun again, as Shellos is encored into Curse. Weather Ball able to do enough to a KO the Shellos, who was finally sacked, and why not very much did his job removing that Shellos. Out comes Diglett. Very nice double to Krogunk here, removes the Toxic Spike 1 and catches the Why Not here. As Jox goes to his Trubbish, as Krogunk sets up a nasty plot. Dry Skin very much causing him problems, but Jox then booms on the Gunk and it goes down. Growlithe in V Sandshrew. Sandshrew being burned, and with a with the Intimidate, Juan's not afraid of a real EQ there. Assumes his Growlithe is gonna be slower, I guess, and goes right for the Morning Sun, and is unfortunately gonna eat a knockoff there and lose its Eviolite. Flamethrower is going to do pretty decent damage to the Sandshrew, as it's going to the Growlithe is going to thief back the Eviolite that the Sandshrew thiefed earlier in the game, and as a parting gift, the Sandshrew is going to take it right back as it drops to the burn. Out comes Why Not, who's going to encore the Growlithe into Morning Sun, and then Jox goes right out to his Charmander this time. Charmander has the Ancient Power, which actually hits Growlithe super effectively, though isn't super strong itself. And Cottonee is gonna finally knock off the Vulpix's Heat Rock and go down to a Weather Ball. Diglett Alola is gonna come out knowing it's faster than the Vulpix, and EQ here. EQ the Vulpix. Diglett's actually going to reveal to be Toxic, assumedly for opposing Shellos, I guess, or Pumpkaboo. And Toxic the Why Not, avoiding the counter on this play. Gonna set up rocks. Jox again tries to get another counter, and this time Jox is like, all right, he's gonna keep trying to outplay the counter. Goes out to his assumedly Scarf Darumaka to eat the Toxic, but is going to be very threatening with the Sun Up. Growlithe comes in, dodges the Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz would have been able to 2-hit KO the Growlithe, obviously, from that damage, with Growlithe's Eviolite knocked off, but instead Growlithe is able to live and get back to near full. Weather Ball, again, not doing a ton of damage. This Growlithe is putting in a lot of work in this game, as Morning Sun's up on the Vulpix, who's just kind of locked in here. The Weather Ball can't really switch out because it dies upon re-entry. Finally goes for an Overheat as Growlithe takes it out with the Flamethrower, leaving it fairly low for Charmander's potential victory. Weather Ball is going to be able to take out the Growlithe, but in comes Diglett. Weather Ball in without Sun, not really strong. Surprised Jox wouldn't go for like Fire Blast there instead, as that would at least, I mean, he was probably lost no matter what, because Goldine's not going to really be the Fire Blast, but yeah, Jox really had no way to win from there, and Juan's going to pick up the dub as we move into our final game of the week. Alright guys, our last game of the week was my game versus my good friend Kip. And this took place on Sunday after our series was already decided, so to be honest, I brought some garbage here in my team. Kip brought some Sun Sand, which is interesting. I brought some Sun with Scarf Tamara. Scarf Tamara having Weather Ball, just because cool to have a fire type move, I guess, on Amara. It's not the most useful thing, but I thought it was cool, so I wanted to bring it, particularly since the game didn't matter. And I'm gonna let you know now that this one could have gone better for your boy, for sure. Um, but yeah, we'll walk it through. He leads Hippo as I lead Pump. I felt like felt like if he was leading Vulpix, I had Dupiter to come in on that, and I wasn't too worried, so I decided to lead Pump, who had a fairly good matchup against most of his team. Pump super. I wish I was my offensive, like the 4-attack set that I had KSG run last week, but I was just standard Firegrass defensive on this. Go for a Giga Drain on the incoming Lilip. And I realized I didn't really like coming into Lilip, so I ended up going Vulpix on the rocks. And I tried to maybe catch him. I'm trying to maybe keep switching and maybe get off a substitute, but he just it's like, alright, you can't kill me from here, so I'm gonna just click Earth Power, breaks my sub, so I'm forced out because I really can't kill that from there. Into my own Pumpkaboo, as Kip goes to his Hippo on the Mystical Fire. I went for Mystical Fire there, kind of expecting the Vulpix to come in. Maybe I can live or just make it easier to live. These rocks being up, pretty annoying for me. But Hippo's in. I decide to switch out into my Dupiter, expecting the Vulpix there, but he goes Krogunk, and I'm like, ah, shit. And I make another play out to my Baltoy as he goes Sandshrew. I decide I don't want these rocks up, so I'm going to eat this knockoff. Don't really recommend that play in hindsight, but I didn't want to switch into rocks with my Pumpkaboo, who was going to be 2-hit KO'd, did the knockoff anyway. Dupiter ends up being the sack instead. Probably should have been Pumpkaboo, but you live and learn. This matchup was terrible for me, and this team wasn't very good. I probably should have used the Amara more aggressively in this game, but it didn't work out. I do get off a Toxic on the Lillipup Subtoxic Berry Juice Vulpix. I don't think Vulpix is very good, but I was like, maybe I can catch a Shellos or Lilip or something with the Toxic and make it easier for me later on. I'm forced to go to my own Vulpix on his reveals to be Fire Blast. That does way too much damage, and he's going to win the speed tie and take me out with the Overheat as he eject packs out into his Goldeen. And this game just really doesn't go well for me. There's not much else to say. I'm forced to go to Pumpkaboo, eats the knock. The knock does way more damage than I would have wanted. Flip turns onto his own Vulpix on a Giga Drain. Giga does okay damage, but it's not enough. I can't switch into this. I decide to go Krogunk because it's sand. Krogunk's not really doing that much in that matchup. Krogunk goes down. Out comes Amora finally, eats the rocks and fires off the Earth Power. Not enough to kill the Krogunk, unfortunately. And then Kip goes to the Vacuum Wave, safe on my my Amora. As I go out to Baltoy, I know I outspeed this thing, but I was like, let me get these rocks away. I guess I should have just killed the Krogunk. I could have at least killed one thing. Unfortunately, Rapid Spin not enough to take out the Gunker. And I'm forced to go to the Pumpkaboo, which allows in his Vulpix once again. And yeah, Mystical Fire, not going to be enough to save me from this Overheat, obviously, in the sun. But go to Amora. I could click the Ice move. Ice move's pretty free here, especially Freeze Try. But instead decide to reveal the Weather Ball just because it's fun. Yeah, game went terribly. I know I told you I brought garbage, and this game clearly showed that I brought garbage. Kind of regret doing so, but my team already had the win, so I guess it's fine. But losing so comprehensively never feels great. and rewatching it was like, all right, I had absolutely nothing going in this game. But well played to Kip, of course. Hopefully I get to see him later on this season and bring a real team and, look like look like a competent player. But, it is what it is. Long season ahead. We still got plenty of time to go. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the like. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.